Prabhuji, no audio. Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya Krishna Jaya Jaya Madhava Jaya Jaya Radha Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya. Radha Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radha, Jai Radha. Jai Radha, Mic is not working. Mic is. Hello. Radha, Govinda, Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe 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 Govinda Radhe Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Gurudev. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kamayam Dadi Swapadantik Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Navamsya. Please offer prayers, don't talk during prayer time. Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sakagana Raghunathan Vijam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Parama Sahagana Daita Shri Vishakhanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vacha kalpatarubhyacha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitana pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prachadine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatani Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So welcome all. So how many of you still remember the chapter 2? I know. Exam is one event, but are you remembering the details of what has been told? Exam was tough, huh? Passed. Finally passed. So okay, so let's read from chapter 3. So chapter 3 is, so generally there is a notion where people think they know karma very well. But karma yoga is one of the most difficult subjects. Okay? Bhakti yoga is actually easy. Karma yoga is a very difficult subject to understand. Understanding the intricacies of the meaning. For example, when sometimes karma is said, it means just action. Sometimes when karma is said, it also means sinful reactions. Right? So sometimes karma is said, it means your duties. So you have to understand the context at which the word karma is used. And especially when Krishna uses that in the Bhagavad Gita. If you don't understand the context, then you will always get confused between the words used by Krishna, who's called Janardana here. And then we will think, oh, this is what it is. Then, okay, I'm doing fine. So that is the biggest problem. So let's introduce few terminology. So we're going to begin from chapter 249 sloka, because that sets the base for the third chapter. The sloka 49 sets the base for the third chapter. Anyone remember 49 sloka? Dure nahi avaram Krishna. Avaram Kanda. So, this is the sloka we're going to base, but before that, we will learn few terminologies. Okay? So, these terminologies you have to apply in your mind in a very clear manner. You should know why this terminology is used and how does it mean. Okay? What does the word yoga means? Yoga means to link with the Supreme. Yoga means to link with the Supreme. Okay. So, for example, when you go to a place, when you shake hands with someone, what are you trying to do? You're establishing a relationship with that person. When the relationship is established, you can actually communicate. You can tell something he will do. She can tell something I will do. Okay. So that is the power of that relationship. So the word linking also means establishing that same relationship with the Supreme. And in Sanskrit, the word yoga means linking to the Supreme. Okay. Now, there are many ways to link with the Supreme, right? You can do your duties, which is called karma, and still link with the Supreme. It is called karma yoga. Otherwise, it's just called karma. You can learn, understand empirical knowledge, philosophical understanding about the Supreme and connect with the Supreme. It's called yoga, but through the method of knowledge. That is Jnana Yoga. You can perform meditative postures, stand this way, that way, all difficult austerities you can take, and still connect with the Supreme. So that is called Ashtanga Yoga. Correct? You can perform Navavidha Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. So let's perform the Navavidha Bhakti, which is also called loving services for the pleasure of the Lord. And that yoga, the linking with the Lord, is called Bhakti Yoga. So, yoga, you have to understand it very, very clearly. If you don't understand this yoga, how to connect with the Lord, then you won't know what is it that you are performing as an action and what is it that is going to be result of it. Because, oh, that Prabhu told me, I will do. Someone I heard in the lecture told me, I will do. This I will hear, I will do. We will become like that, which is very dangerous. Right? Doing an action without knowledge is the most whimsical way that one can lead a life. Huh? Suma Mataji, will you do jamun? Oh, yes, Prabhu, I will do jamun. Can you add little bit chilies to the jamun? Oh, yes, Prabhu, I'll add chilies to the jamun. She'll add chilies and give it to you. Then, how can you eat this, Mataji? I don't know, Prabhu. Whatever.
Not able to hear.
Prabhuji, no audio, Prabhuji.
Irritating for people on the bridge also, no? They keep on getting disconnected. He has to ask me, make the alternate connection, then leave, not just like the leave. Okay, so now, so we understood the yoga process. Now, why we need to connect with the Supreme? So that is the goal of human life, right? We will see that in third chapter. Why we need to connect? Because by connecting with the Supreme, by serving the Supreme, we go back home. If we don't connect and we don't serve, then we stay back. The rule is very simple. You may be anyone, it doesn't matter. Okay? So now we'll start with 49 because this is a refresher sloka. 49. Durena hi avaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau sharanam anvicha kripanaha phalahetava. So what does Krishna say? Krishna says, Durena hi avaram karma. So what is avaram karma? So here, in the context of second chapter, so always understand Bhagavad Gita is going to have contextual meaning. It's going to keep changing the meaning. You would understand which reference, which sloka that we are referring to, what Krishna is trying to say, and then get the meaning. For example, the word akarma will keep changing its meaning many times. Sometimes you will see that akarma is superior to karma. Sometimes you see in third chapter that karma is superior to karma. So why? So contextually the meaning will change. So we'll see that also. Now, avaram karma, there is a twin problem with avaram karma. What is avaram karma? Avaram karma means activities that are prohibited. Why you want to sit in the back? Come to the front. When there are less people, you can at least have one line. No? Sitting at the back bench, don't be a backbencher. Be a first line bencher. All toppers are first liners. No? Juju, Mataji broke with. I thought all these days the toppers are first liners. Who sit in the back? Huh? I was a backbencher. Okay. So, Krishna is saying, avaram karma means prohibited activities, activities that should not be done. Okay, now Arjuna is having a confusion. What's the confusion? He is thinking, avaram karma means, oh, if I fight, I will kill my kinsman. I will kill my guru, tata, all these people I will kill. Hence he is saying, I will not fight. So Arjuna's understanding of avaram karma is not right. But what Krishna is saying, avaram karma means activity that is performed with fruitive mentality. I want the result of my activity. I want to enjoy the benefit of my activity. Is what Krishna is referring to. So if you do an activity with attachment, I want the result of it, I want to enjoy the fruits of it, then that is avaram karma is what Krishna is saying. But Arjuna is thinking avaram karma means prohibited activities in a different context. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, oh Arjuna, dureni avaram karma, stay away, very far away from activities that has fruitive mentality and attachment. That's the point here to understand. Is that point clear? So that's the way to. Now from this at the base, we will start with the first sloka. Arjuna is asking the question. Okay. So chapter 3, first sloka. Arjuna vacha jayashi chit karmanaste mata buddhi janardana tat kim karmani gorema Niyoja Yashikeshava. Okay, so now look at the keywords here. Okay. So Krishna is saying, Jayashi Chet Karmanaste. Saying, why you want to be engaged in fruitive work. So that Jayashi means something better. What is better than what? Krishna is going to clarify Arjuna. He's saying, Arjuna is asking the question. Now he's confused. Oh, Janardana. Janardana here means Lord who shelters all the living entities. He's the Lord of all the living entities. He's called Janardana. So he's asking, oh Keshava, why do you want me to engage in ghastly warfare? What's ghastly warfare? Killing people. Warfare, right? You'll kill the opponents. Then, if you think intelligence is better than fruitive work, so now he's confused between intelligence is buddhi. Okay, I'll renounce everything. You're asking me to renounce everything. Should I renounce or should I fight? So according to my understanding, renouncing is better than fight. So why do you want me to fight? Right? So that is the confusion that Arjuna has. Okay. Now in the Karma Yoga alone, we have to read Prabhupada's purports. Okay. It's very important to read Prabhupada's purport to give you crystal clear understanding. Okay. So we'll read the purports also. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, has very elaborately described the constitution of the soul in the previous chapter. Okay. He says, the path of realization has been recommended, Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga means performing the linkage with the Lord with intelligence. Intelligence, the knowledge about the Supreme. Or Krishna consciousness. Sometimes Krishna consciousness is misunderstood to be inertia. What is inertia? Inertia means resistance to perform an activity. Okay. So if I tell someone, hey, why don't you worship that Supreme God? Immediately there's a resistance. Why should I do it? So people always have this resistance, initial resistance. And with such a misunderstanding, often withdraws to a secluded place to become fully Krishna conscious. So what they do, instead of being an association of devotees, understanding the subject matter, what they do, they go into a secluded place. Oh, Prabhuji, I will chant alone. I will not sit along with devotees. In the morning Mangalarati program, what happens? We all chant together. But people want to chant alone, which is dangerous. Why? Because without maturity of consciousness, they want to perform this activity. That causes reverse effect. That's what he's saying here. But without being trained in the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, what's trained without Krishna consciousness? That means there's no proper understanding of the subject of this matter. It is not advisable to chant the holy name of Krishna in a secluded place, where one may acquire one cheap adoration from an innocent public. Oh, they may feel that, oh, look, he is glorifying me. You know, looks like I'm a saintly person here. So his pride will go up and he will commit more offenses. Arjuna also thought of Krishna conscious or Buddhi Yoga or intelligence in a spiritual advancement of knowledge as something like retirement from active life. So now Arjuna is thinking, oh Krishna, you're telling me, should I fight or should I take up Buddhi Yoga? That means I'll stop fighting. I'll retire now. I will not do anything because if I fight, it will cause me reaction. So I will not do my duty. So that is the confusion that Arjuna is into. Are you clear? Okay. So now how is this to understand? If I perform an activity, it has a reaction. I better not perform an activity. So no reaction, no? I can enjoy peacefully. This is the thought of Arjuna. So now please understand, Arjuna is who? Us. Those are we think. Clear? We are Arjuna now. The Lord is speaking to us. Okay, keep this consciousness. Okay, now let's go to the next one. Text 2. Vyamishrenava vyakena Buddhim maho yasiva me. Buddhim moha yasiva me. Tad ekam vada nishchitya. Yena shreyoham apnuyam. Okay, so now what is Arjuna is trying to tell here? My intelligence is bewildered. That means Arjuna is not able to think. He is confused. He doesn't know. Should I fight or should I renounce everything? By equivocal instruction, I don't know what you want me to do. I don't know whether fighting is good or renouncing is good. I don't know what to do. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me. Because Arjuna is confused, he is asking that question to Krishna. He doesn't know which path to take. So we are in a similar path. Now, when we're talking about prescribed duties, which is karma, what is that we are referring to? No, for Arjuna's case, fighting, right? He has to fight, that's the prescribed duty. Okay. Yes. Okay. So let's look at the purport. Arjuna therefore wanted to clear up these apparently confusing matters so that any common man could accept them without misinterpretation. Although Krishna had no intention of confusing Arjuna by jugglery of words, Arjuna could not follow the process of Krishna consciousness. Okay? So he does not know, should I hesitate to do it or should I involve myself in active service? I do not know. Hence, Arjuna is asking this question to clear the doubts in his mind. Okay, so what's the doubt Arjuna has? Should I fight or should I renounce? Renounce means no activity. That's what he's thinking. Okay. Is renouncing no activity correct? That also will understand. See, you have to understand chapter 3, 4, 5. They will all be in a similar manner of understanding. The Krishna will clear the entire air in our consciousness. When you understand 3, 4, and 5, and portions of 6. Up to 6, it will be all doubts that will be completely eradicated from our thoughts. 7th onwards, Arjuna is very clear. Okay, Krishna, I know what I should do. I'll begin. That's when you see the Bhakti Yoga actually begins on the 7th chapter only, not even the 8th chapter. So that's the brilliance that which the Lord explains. Now let's read just text 3. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Lokesmin Divivida Vishta Pura Prokta Mayanaga Jnana Yogena Sankhyana Karma Yogena Yogina. See, you see, Sri Bhagavan Vacha, Lord is saying, he's saying in Lokesmin, in this world, there are two kinds of people, or two varieties of people. That is what it says, Divivida. Okay. So, what are these two kinds of people? Or it says two classes of men who are trying to do certain activities, which is in the path of self-realization. Okay, what are these two kinds of people? They are represented by this line, Jnana Yogena Sankhyana. Okay, that means these are people who are Jnana Yogis who spend their life in empirical knowledge and philosophical understanding. Okay, so these are called Jnana Yogis. So that is one type of people. And what do? Philosophical understanding and empirical knowledge. Okay. Then the other class of men who are Karma Yogena Yogina. Karma Yogena Yogina means who perform activities. They perform their activities. This Karma Yoga has multiple levels of understanding. So, for example, a devotee in the initial stages, he is performing Karma Yoga. What is he performing Karma Yoga? He is performing activities, but he's got full of attachment. He is expecting praise, return, result out of his Karma Yoga. But he may perform certain aspects of Bhakti Yoga also. What is Bhakti Yoga? Linking with the Lord, understanding the Lord. So he may do both. Okay, that's an immature state. But continuous practice of this, as he matures in his practices, so then he starts to understand that I have to perform my activities, which is my bountiful duties, without attachment. So the renunciation in his heart starts to mature. And as he performs his activity for a longer duration of time, this devotee, by acquisition of knowledge, by taking mercy of the Lord, slowly he is offering all the results of his activities for the pleasure of the Lord. So, from a Sakama Karma Yogi, is becoming Nishkama Karma Yogi. So, this is called the maturity of devotee in Karma Yoga platform. In fact, if you look at most of our ISKCON devotees, actually we are in Karma Yoga. We are performing our duties. As we mature, we are performing services without expectation, selflessly. We want to use the opulence that we have in service of the Lord. In the initial stages, what happened when we do, let's say I donated a bell in the temple. We want to immediately dial up our uncle aunt, 50,000 rupees, yeah, I donated bell to the temple. The first stage of our practice. Sunday feast program, 12,500 rupees. Prabhuji, I donated, please announce my name.
They write the name of the country.
Yeah, and name not written, he is offended. Okay? You see Karma Yoga done, but with results attachment. Now this devotee is maturing. As he matures, what he'll say, Prabhuji, I'm just doing it, don't announce my name. It's done as a service to the Lord. You see change of consciousness? So, activities continue to be performed, the person continue to exist, the Lord continues to exist, the linkage process continues to exist, but what has changed? The consciousness. That is called maturity. This maturity is what is called evolution of devotee in the devotional life. Right? So, when Karma Yoga is performed without attachment and without expectation of result, and in loving service of that Lord, then that Karma Yoga fructifies, which leads to Bhakti Yoga process. Is that very clear? So now there are two kinds of people. Now, why Krishna is trying to tell? There is one set of people who are in the empirical knowledge platform. Now, when will you come to empirical knowledge platform? When you understood the detail of this Prakriti very well. The modes of the nature, how they act under the guidance of the Lord. And what is my duty? Understanding that I am among the 84 lakh species of life. When I understand all this knowledge, then what happens? I lose taste in performance of my duties. I don't want to be anymore, go to job, where and do this, do that. All this passion, they just go away. Because knowledge has sat on me and I am matured now. So such people, they go into the platform of empirical knowledge. And for them, not doing any work, like Arjuna is saying, why should I do? I will renounce the work. For them, renouncing the work and doing this yoga platform is okay, Arjuna, but not for you. Why? Because you are immature now. You're still not matured enough. You do not know. It is just some passionate excitement that you have that you want to do. So it's better don't do it. That's what the Lord is trying to tell you. Are we clear so far? Are we able to connect the few slokas onto this sloka?
Like the science and all.
Now, here on the platform of the knowledge of the Vedic sciences, Vedic scriptures, that's what it is. It is a combination of Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya philosophy as spoken by Kapila. Okay, it is understanding every interactions of this material world, this nature, Prakriti, in relation with the Lord. Okay, so they'll have Lord, but they'll understand it. The other Sankhya philosophy is like scientist, atheistic philosophy. It is like thinking science is ultimate. Okay, I put chemical A, chemical B, C. Okay, I'm the discoverer of this. So this can cause that, that can. So it's basically understanding the characteristic interactions of these material elements without the influence of the Lord. Right? So this is, they have knowledge of the Lord. That's the, okay. But they may speculate. Sometimes they become offensive, they may speculate. So speculation is about, is this better? Is that better? So in the process of speculation, they do not conclude that Sarvakarana Karanam is Vishnu. They are unable to conclude to that. So that's the only situation they have. Am I right, Prabhuji? So we will read this purport here, just to understand this better. The Lord explains there are two kinds of procedure, namely Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga, Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga here is with intelligence. Okay. The Lord explains more clearly. Sankhya, or analytical study of the nature of spirit and matter. See, spirit and matter. Once you see the word spirit comes, that means they have come to the platform of spirituality, transcendental. Okay. Is a subject matter of the person who are inclined to speculate and understand things by experimental knowledge and philosophy. They want to try and test. That's why, they start to go towards yogic process to understand the behavior of soul, all those things they try to do. Yes, bro, please.
Second chapter
Yes. The Lord explains also in the 39th verse that by working by the principles of Buddhi or Krishna consciousness, one can release from bonds of action and furthermore. There is no flaw in the process. The same principle is more clearly explained in the 61st verse, that is Bhakti Yoga. So we'll skip there. So therefore, both the yogas are interdependent as religion and philosophy. Okay, so why it's called religion? Religion means purpose of human life. How do I serve my creator? That's religion. That's what religion. So Prabhupada clearly defines. What does religion means? Religion means it teaches you the process and the method by which you love your creator. If a religion can teach you that, it's called bona fide religion. If a religion cannot teach you that, it is called a false religion, a cheating religion. So what is philosophy? Philosophy is knowledge. Knowledge behind this. Okay. So that means the Jnana Yoga also are not in the final stages of this spiritual evolution. That's what you have done. Okay. Then, the ultimate goal is Krishna because the philosophers who are sincerely searching after the absolute truth come to the end to Krishna consciousness. Okay, so that is, of these two, the path to Krishna consciousness is better because it does not depend on purifying the senses by philosophical process. Krishna consciousness is itself the purifying process, and by direct method of devotional service, it is simultaneously easily and sublime. Okay? So now, our destination is Mayapur. Clear? We have begun our journey from Bangalore. How we begin our journey? We first decided, okay, we will go to Mayapur. That's the first step we've taken, correct now? Just because we've taken the decision to go to Mayapur, have we reached Mayapur? Oh, still a long way to go. So, our endeavor in Karma Yoga begins with, okay, let me collect money to buy the tickets. So that's where we are now in the third chapter. Clear, bro? Okay. So any doubts so far? So can you all write Bhakti Shastri exam now immediately after this? Okay. Text 4. Yes, Mother. Can you have the mic? So it is understanding the matter and spirit in a what do you say in an experiment method. So, for example, you biology lab, biology class kutkoltira. So, biology class only they're telling you, see, human body has lungs, liver, kidney. Who's this? Who's this? Ah. Okay, so you went to biology lab and you said, okay, the human body, they'll keep a skeleton. They'll say it's got lungs, liver, heart, brain, everything they'll show you. Until you saw that, you didn't know. Oh, these parts are there in my body. I didn't know all these things. Someone question? Okay. So let me complete this answer for this question. Okay. So now, until then, you don't know. Then you saw they kept a frog. Frog also has all the same parts, but maybe different in nature. So now what you did, you went to the laboratory to understand the theory you heard from the teacher in the class. Okay? So theory you tested by going to a lab. Then you got proof. Oh, yeah. She told there's something called brain in the body, but I went to the lab, I actually saw there's a brain and I touched it also and I felt it. Then I concluded. This is called methods. Is it clear? That's how we are now. That's how we are, right? Huh? Meaning, if I tell you something, you will not take it straight away, but you want to do all this testing and to, okay, now I understand there's brain. You want proof for it. Okay. So, one person asked Prabhupada about this question. He said, oh, is it? Okay, then show me your mind. How will you show mind? Can you take laboratory and show? Not sure. So there are certain things you understand by behavior and by certain attributes, right? You understand it. Not everything can be shown and given. So a boy is telling a guy, I love you. How will you show love? Is there something you take the heart and show? That is the difference. Okay. So there is something called pramana, shabda. So all these things you can understand. So let's go to the next sloka. Text 4. Na karmanam anarambhan naishkarmyam purushosnute nacha sanyasana deva siddhim samadhi gacchati. Look at these words he's saying. He's saying karma of prescribed duties. Okay. So now karma is duty. Of prescribed duties is the act of performing the duty. That means he's not doing the duty, but he's having the thought that I want to do the duty. Okay. Then secondly, anarambhat, by non-performance. What is non-performance? Oh, I don't want to do duty. So there is a difference between non-performance of something and renunciation. Correct? Non-performance is different from renunciation. You cannot say, Prabhu, just because I did not eat, it does not mean I renounce eating. Is it both same? So that's what you have to understand. So that's why you will have to understand this contextual difference. Then He's saying, Naishkarmyam. Naishkarmyam means freedom from reaction. Okay, so now Arjuna, what is the question of Arjuna? Arjuna is saying, I don't want to fight. Why? I don't want reaction. What reaction? Oh, if I kill my uncle, if I kill my kingsman, what sort of life I will get? So, can we mute that? So now, how is Arjuna thinking? If I don't fight, then no reaction. Okay, let's put another way to look at this problem. You're supposed to chant 16 rounds every day. Now, I read in the class, the 10 offenses class, that if I chant, it produces offense. Right? Offenses are there. No? Offenses to the holy name. Why, Prabhuji? Problem solved? Or shall I remove?
Yeah.
You're done. You're happy, I'm happy. So now we just read in the class that 10 offenses to the holy name. Then I got bewildered. Then I told my spiritual master, oh, my spiritual master, there are 10 offenses to the holy name. So I stopped chanting. Super, no? So this is how Arjuna is speaking to Krishna, and Krishna is having a nice laugh at him. So now he's telling, that's why he uses the word. Naishkarmayo Purusho Smute. So he's saying non-performance will not lead you freedom from reaction. Right? Then he says, Nacha Sanyasana Deva Siddhim Samadhi Gacchati. So what does it say? It says, nor by renunciation alone one can attain perfection. So he says, Arjuna, you cannot say, I will abstain myself from work. That means I will not do my duty anymore. Okay? Then Krishna is saying, okay, if you don't want to do duty, then what will you do, Arjuna? Then he's saying, I'll renounce it. He says, I'll renounce it by heart. Okay, now what is the problem now? Arjuna, is he ready for renunciation now? He is a Kshatriya, full of warrior, young Kshatriya, young king he is. Right? He has full fighting spirit now. That's why he came to the battlefield, right? Now, he says, now I'll renounce it. Can you renounce it? Because I told you. You cannot. So, let me do a sample test here. Okay. Ashwadhana Prabhu, tell me one dish that you like the most. Obattu. No, what is Obattu? Holige. Okay. So, he likes Holige. After attending third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, I told Ashwadhana Prabhu, stop eating Holige. Then what he said? Okay, Prabhu, I'll renounce Holige. Now he's renounced Holige in his mouth. Has he renounced Holige in his heart? No. That means it is sannyasa externally. Okay, so that's what Krishna is trying to tell you. Right? He's telling Arjuna, don't renounce like a sannyasa. So sannyasa here means, it is not sannyasi means as in the saffron sannyasi. He's talking about the spirit of sannyasa. What is spirit of sannyasa? A person could be in color dress fully, but he could be renounced in his heart. He's completely detached. That is spirit of renunciation. And there could be a sannyasa who could be actually practicing sannyasa, but full of desire in the heart. So he's external sannyasi, internally there's no spirit of sannyasa. So that's what. Here, the context is not sannyasa meaning the person, it means the act of sannyasa. Right? Is it clear?
There is another category. You have a willingness. Also, you got the complete renunciation from the heart. But you are not prepared yet for the renunciation.
That's in the process of maturity.
Maturity, but that is again dangerous.
That's again?
There is also that.
Oh, okay.
Because there is ended with that. One Prabhu in the year 2016, sorry, 2014. He was the CEO of a big company. And all of a sudden, the first day he met his Guru Maharaj, and straight away were with Vrindavan. And 4 years to set up that family. 4 years. Prabhuji was not going to Mumbai. And he was completely full of, I'll be staying only in Vrindavan. And the Telugu recipe. And finally he got to reach, and we somehow some compromise here and some compromise here. We prepared, and finally we decided.
So the practical example. Really practical example Prabhu is telling. So that means the process of renunciation has to happen through the process of maturity and over a period of time, for which you need to have the spirit in your heart. You cannot act because some book told me, or my Guru Maharaj told me, because my situation may not be ready. If I am not ready, I cannot do it. That's what is important. Okay, hence Krishna is comparing between these two personalities, right? So just because you don't want to fight, it does not mean you've renounced. And just because you want to renounce, it does not mean you're actually renouncing because you're externally doing it. Why? You may renounce and go. You'll say, I'll not fight, and you'll go. But your fighting spirit is there in your car. What do? You'll try to do that fighting in a secret manner. Right? For example, a thief. You tell him, stealing is illegal. You are not supposed to steal anymore. He'll say, okay, I'll not steal anymore. You'll take the Bhagavad Gita and promise. He will go, but the propensity to steal is always there. Whenever he sees opportunity, he wants to steal. Kleptomaniacs.
That story is there, no problem. One person will be there, and we'll go with the yatra in the night, kicking hard, and he will take back from here and keep it there, that back. The whole night.
So the propensity has to go, and that's what Krishna is saying. Your maturity is not yet there. Hence, you cannot do it. Yes, you cannot do. So it needs practice. Why it needs practice? Because you have to understand. We are not here who just got dropped from Vaikuntha Loka. Just like we got a drop from Vajra Vayu bus. We did not get down from Vaikuntha Loka just like that. So what happened to us? We fell down and we accumulated desires over births and births and births of millions of time. And our heart, our mind is overloaded like a warehouse with unlimited desire. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamaha davadi nirvam. It's just burning like a forest fire. Which is burning? The desire. So with that, it is not like switch. You turn on switch and say, okay, now it's all fine now. I'm renounced. It's not possible. That's what Krishna is saying. So Krishna is saying you have to go through the process of renunciation. So you cannot do this action. Right? Look at the way Krishna is taking the whole subject matter. Okay, so we'll read this Bhagavad. The renounce order of life can be accepted when one has purified by discharge of prescribed duties, which are laid down just to purify the hearts of materialistic man. That means Krishna is now telling the renunciation, he's going to give 2 levels of renunciation. Arjuna is thinking renunciation means what? Abstaining from activity. If I don't do activity, I'm renounced. But what Krishna is saying? No, that is not renunciation. Real renunciation means do your activity, but do it without attachment. Do your activity without fruitive mentality. Don't be attached to the results of your work, and says that is renunciation. Look at Lord's definition and look at how Arjuna is understanding. Right? So this is what we think. So in our temple, one of these days of festival, generally they make one sweet, one fried item, something like that. So me and another friend, devotee of mine, we went, by the time we went, the sweet jamun was over. Okay. Then I said, okay, Prabhu, maybe next time we'll have what to do. No, Prabhu, I've already renounced Jamun by heart. That's exactly what he said. Has he renounced?
No.
If that person says, Prabhu, there's one more Jamun left in the kitchen, immediately he'll water his mouth. So we should not be like this. So hence, this is what it says. So Lord Krishna does not approve this principle. Without purification of heart, sannyasi is simply a disturbance to the social order. Why? Because in the form of sannyasi, he'll wear this colored dress and he'll keep on taking service from everyone superficially, and he will cause pain to others. And others also, what they're doing, they're earning hard-earned money, they'll spend on him, and he is actually borrowing that karma also onto him, which is multiple problems for him. So, not all of them are sannyasi order. You have to, even though he's wearing a saffron dress, you have to watch him speak, watch him act, watch him walk, watch him do activities. That is when you control. So that's why they say, you want to take initiation? You first understand your spiritual master whom you like. Watch him for some period of time. Does he really make sense in your heart? Then surrender to him. Because who are you surrendering to? You surrender to Shaksha Dalitvena Shastra, right? So someone surrendering to who is not different from Krishna. So you have to understand his level of renunciation. Not all levels of all sannyasis are not the same level of renunciation. That also you should understand, right? So does it match my? So this initiation itself is a very, very detailed, excellent process. But what are we doing? We want now, Prabhu. Tomorrow, use influence, do this, do that. Everything goes on. So what to do? It is better than not giving. Okay, so that's what. Yes. Okay, so is Sloka 4 clear? Huh? You're becoming now scholars. So, text 5. Nahi kaschit shanam api jatu dishtati akarmakrit aryate hi avashyak karma sarva prakriti jayatunai. So Krishna says, Arjuna, you don't want to fight, but look at the reality. Reality, he says, this is the reality. He says, you don't have a choice. Let us see what the choice Krishna is telling. He says, everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the modes of nature he is in. Some of us are in passion, some of us are in ignorance, some of us are in goodness, some of them are in mixed modes, all of us are mixed modes, 80%, 20%, 10%, here and there, all mixed modes. So then, he is acting according to his quality. What Krishna said in the Bhagavad, he said, Chaturvarnam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasya. According to one's guna, I made him to be born in that varnam, and according to that varna, he will act. Right? So hence Krishna is now trying to tell you that by the modes of the nature, which are the modes of nature? Ignorance, passion, goodness. According to modes of nature, one will be influenced to act. He will work. So that's why he uses the word helplessly, he is performing his action. Okay? Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities is occurred for the modes of material nature. Now you can understand real meaning, how Prakriti Kriyamanani, Gunai Karmani Shavas. So you can understand how Prakriti is the doer. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing anything for even a moment. Even for 1 minute, you cannot be quiet. Impossible. So Arjuna, what are you talking that you will not fight this war? Huh? You are a Kshatriya and you are a Grihastha. How can you stop doing any activities? Impossible. You will do something. So now it's like Arjuna, oh, I can't go this way. I can't go this way. I can't go this way. What is it that I'm supposed to do, Krishna? Huh? Brilliant, no? The Lord checkmated him. Okay, so let's look at it. So the Lord is not talking about that here. He says, you are forced to do your work, but he is telling, check what your prescribed duty is and accordingly do that. And when you do accordingly do that, he is talking about offering the results of your work to someone, or offering the results of to someone where your mind is renounced from attachment of that activity. That means what? You're merely doing it in the first stage. Oh, Shastra has told me, so I'm doing it. The first stage of life. In the second stage of life, oh, for the pleasure of devotees and for my pleasure, you will do. The third stage of life, no, it's clearly pleasure of Krishna. Because he is the Bhakta. That is the evolution of consciousness. Right? If you do, Martin and Martin, that is mode of ignorance. You don't know why you're doing it. So we never do something like that. Okay, now apply this in whatever you do. When you do prajalpa, when you do service, when you go to office and do work, when you're traveling around, do your activities, you see what are you doing? And connect the meaning being told you. Then you will understand this in a greater way. Okay? Good? Yes, bro. Yes, sir.
Like, why I'm suffering? Why this happens to me? Why I'm suffering this way, that way? Why I'm always engaged in this activity, that activity? That is because of the past deed as well as the association of the because we are doing that. This is what we is. And intelligent people understand not the number level of the day-to-day life, but they like to understand what is it doing in which provenance. Am I being preserved by all this? And what preserved by is it? Activities of ignorance. What's also is the activity of the world of
Goodness.
Yes. So we need to sit from here. That is the
Can we understand this? We are forced to perform in this state. That is it's based on my law of karma.
No, according to qualities. What activities you'll perform, according to your qualities.
Sir, this law of karma is my qualities are based on my previous. Lord is
No. For example, let's say someone dies. If he dies in a mode of passion, okay, whatever state of that passionate consciousness he had, in the next birth, irrespective of the body he attains, whether human or animal, he'll be in the same passion. So, this quality of guna, the guna that you possess, is a carry forward from what you left in your previous birth. It is not connected to karma. Karma is reactionary, but this is not that. If you read the 8th chapter, Krishna says, whatever state of consciousness, repeat the word state of consciousness that you leave this body, the same state you will attain after death. And there's no doubt about it, he says. No, passion is because of your desire.
I mean, we get that desire only when we work or maybe when we do some work.
No, you get desire because of lack of knowledge. So, for example, there is good knowledge and there is bad knowledge. You associate with bad knowledge, you get output accordingly. You associate with good knowledge, you will get output accordingly. Right? So, I'll give you a simple example, just the rawest example. You have two sets of friends. One set of friends are very sattvic, they're very, let's say, respectful to others, they're very helpful in nature, good habits, they eat good conscious food. Okay. Another set of friends are smokers. Okay, so you imagine your consciousness when you meet with this set of people. You exactly derive according to your association. Now, you know both available to you, but your heart is throbbing, I'll go for the smoking gang. So accordingly, you got associated with them. You develop desires more and more, further and further. So you make the choice.
okay, one of them make the choice, and if I go to the back, keep to the front, so I start smoking, or maybe I would like.
Whatever you want to do. Yeah.
And if suppose if I die in that state, will I just?
You will continue from that.
That state. Will I
Yes.
just have the same thing in the next.
Yes. Same state of ignorance, you'll be born again. That's why in the animal categories, cow is in mode of goodness. Monkey is in mode of passion. Mode of ignorance, what's the best example? Tiger's passion.
Donkey.
Okay, let's say donkey. Okay, if someone dies in mode of ignorance and he gets a donkey's body, his consciousness continues to remain mode of ignorance. That's the point here. This is not connected to karma. This state of consciousness. Okay, so now what is the spiritual life? Spiritual life is very simple. We were all born with ignorant consciousness. By some Sukriti of the Acharya, the transcendental books, the Archa Vigraha, the holy name, this transcendental prashad, all these things, what they do, they change our consciousness from ignorant state to a good state. So now, okay, so now we'll go to the next sloka. Karmendriyani samyamya ya aste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudatma Mityachara sa uchyate. So now Lord is hitting the bolt on the head. He says, he uses the word Mityacharya. Who's Mityacharya? Mityacharya are imposters, pretenders. So now we have someone has not changed his consciousness. There's no evolution of consciousness. Okay? But he's externally wearing like a devotee, he's speaking like that, but internally he's full of impurities. He's called a Mityacharya, a pretender, an impostor. Okay, so now what is Krishna trying to tell you? Krishna is trying to tell you that, you may forcefully restrain your senses from, because in last sloka he talked about sannyasa. Right, the act of sannyasa. He said, you may forcefully say, okay, I will not fight, I'll renounce order, I will renounce everything and I'll go to forest or what it may be, but your yendriyas the karmendriyas will start to function. I want that, I want this, I want that. Then he'll be like a pretender. He says, pretender is the worst of all.
Prabhupada used to call it
Huh?
Prabhupada used to tell this in the word Balgu Vairagya.
Balgu Vairagya.
Balgu is faith. It's stroke of faith.
Stroke.
It appears like a sannyasi.
Stands. And for days together. Did you understand what he says? Flamingo, like that, it stands in one leg also, right? It's like this, like a statue to be there. We think, oh, look at it. He's the best sannyasa. He's in meditation, Ashtanga yoga. But desire is so strong. What happens? When a fish comes, immediately plucks and eats it. That's it. That's what he's saying. Huh? Okay. So he says, one who restrains the senses from action, but whose mind is dwelling, mind is searching for enjoyment, for fulfilling the desire, deludes himself is called a pretender. This pretender is the worst, right? So if you look at the purport, look at the last line. His knowledge has no value because the effect of such a sinful man's knowledge are taken away by illusion energy of the Lord. Such a pretender's mind is always impure, and therefore issue of yogic meditation has no value whatsoever. So never become a pretender that you are, oh, I am practicing bhakti yoga so much, I'm chanting so much, I'm doing this so much. Don't all pretending, because no use. The Lord doesn't recognize yours. So a devotee means call spades a spade. That's it. A devotee must be a transparent person. That's why Rupa Goswami talked about the 6 qualitative aspects of devotee association. What he said? He said, a devotee needs to reveal his heart to others. Others meaning here the context is his guide or mentor or whoever it may be. Not publicly taking mic and reveal heart. And hear from others and maintain confidentiality. So that's quality of Vaishnava. See, this clearly tells transparency. Now, let's say Balaji Prabhu came and told me, Prabhu, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. I heard, but he opened his heart and told. Now, what did he do? Oh, yes, Balaji Prabhu. He come. Immediately I transmitted that message. What I have done? I've committed offense. Because I broke his trust of confidence. So these are all the status of the consciousness. And it's very important. So Krishna says, don't be a pretender. Be a transparent person. Right? Lord has clearly given guidelines here. Don't be pretender. Now, why he is using the word pretender? Because Arjuna, without maturity, you're trying to go into the platform of Jnana Yoga. But when there is no maturity, you will say, I am also yogi now, I am also sannyasi, but you're externally sannyasi. Internally, your fighting spirit like Kshatriya is going to exist, and you're going to show that anywhere and everywhere. Right? So for us, what does it mean? For us, what does it mean is, the process of devotional service and devotional maturity is like a time bound. You have to continuously practice Nishta Bhakti for a long period of time. Then purity of heart happens, the maturity of consciousness happens, the knowledge of the Supreme becomes fixed in our heart, we become steady state. And that is when you can begin the process of renunciation. Like he gave an example, no? One devotee heard Vrindavan, immediately leave him, I'll go to Vrindavan, I'll not come. So this is exact case of immaturity. That should not be done. Right? So he's telling Arjuna, Arjuna, you're immature now. Because we are still in the 3rd chapter, Arjuna, so you're immature now. When you come to 18th chapter, you're mature, Arjuna. Then you can say, Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. So now Krishna is telling that to him. Okay? So that's clear now? Excellent. I will go to 7th sloka. Yes, Indriyani Manasa Yam Yapate Arjuna Karmendriyai Karma Yogam Asaktasa Vishishyate. So now Krishna is telling Arjuna that, oh Arjuna, rather than being a pretender, openly accept whatever your state is and be in that varna or in that ashrama and practice your aspects of spiritual life in that simple manner. So, for example, someone says, I want to become brahmachari. Brahmachari means no more sex life, No more unification with opposite person. Okay. But he can't. But he is under the pressure to say, oh, brahmachari means higher status. So he wants to be in that. He wants to be a pretender. He says, don't be that. It's better you accept the grihastha life. In the grihastha life, you practice Krishna conscious in a steady state manner. He says that is much better than trying to be a pretender. So that's the advice Krishna is giving. This is a good advice for us. Look at it. Look at the translation. On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the senses, how do you control the senses? Let's ask this question. There are 3 stages of controlling the senses. First, understand the philosophical knowledge behind the mind and sense control. Second, deeply in the heart, feel for it. Somehow I need to control my senses. Right? So first is knowledge. Second, deeply in the heart, feel for controlling the senses. Third, offer your prayers to the Lord. Seek mercy to control the senses. The end result of these 3 steps is slow and steady progress towards control of senses. Without these 3 steps, without deeply feeling for it and trying to practice for it, there's no way one can achieve sense control. So it is in the hands of ours. Right? Okay. So hence he says, by the mind, and begins karma yoga. In Krishna consciousness, without attachment, he says he is far superior. Look at the word he says. He says he is far superior than a pretender who's thinking that, oh, I'm renounced, I'm wearing sannyasa dress, I'm a senior devotee, I'm that, I'm this, and that, all this. Is the answer very good? Any doubts so far? So, as a grihastha, do not think that you are in lower forms of devotion. No, Krishna has guaranteed you that. Second, as a grihastha, always endeavor to go to higher and higher and higher levels of platform. For which, endeavor, deeply pray for it, seek mercy from the Lord. You will see year 1, year 5, massive progress. Year 10, massive progress. If this is the way we're going to progress, when Antakalam comes, definitely Lord will take care of you. You can go back home, back to God. Is this clear? So do not jump your status of consciousness. Do your duty and allow it to naturally progress towards Krishna. So let's look at 8th sloka. Niyatam kuru karmatvam karma jayo hi akarmanaha karirayatra vichataye na prasidya akarmanaha. Now you see here, Krishna is saying, karma jayo hi akarmanaha. Krishna is saying, performing karma is better than akarma. Now, akarmanaha means it is not activities with no reaction. It means then doing not doing any work. So the contextual meaning of akarmana again changes. So now here he is saying karma is better than akarma. But what we learned in the Bhakti Yoga, akarma is better than karma. So this karma and akarma, you have to understand contextual meaning at all points. Okay. So now what he says, Krishna is saying, perform your prescribed duties. It is better than not doing any duty. So what's your prescribed duty? According to your varna and ashrama, perform your duty without attachment, not endeavoring for results, and whatever results are obtained, make it as an offering to the Supreme Lord, and that is perfection. And when you do that, you will get, is called Karma Yoga. And how can you do that? Only you can do that with the consciousness of knowledge of that Supreme Lord. If you do not know who He is, then you will not be able to practice this. So, knowledge of the Supreme, performing activities with without attachment, Performing activities, not endeavoring for the fruits of the results of your activities. And this is called Karma Yoga. This Karma Yoga, when performed for a longer period of time in the state of Nishtha, Nishtha means in steady state, will reach you to Nishkama Karma Yoga. Nishkama Karma Yoga will transform into Bhakti Yoga. And that is called perfection of one's life. So that's what Krishna is trying to teach. Okay. So let's go to the 9th sloka. So now, what has Krishna told you? Let us summarize so far. Arjuna is confused. Should I renounce or should I fight? So now Krishna told, renounce is good, but renouncing immaturely is very bad because you'll be a pretender. You will renounce externally, but internally you're not renounced, you're attached. So very dangerous. Then he said, Durena avaram karma. So what is avaram karma? Prohibit activities. You should stay very far away. Durena. Don't even think of it. Right? So what is avaram karma is talking about? Arjuna is confused that avaram karma means avoid fighting, don't kill. Krishna is saying, no, avaram karma means your duty without attachment. Don't ask for fruitive result. That itself is avaram karma. That means fruitive result is avaram karma. Don't expect appreciation for the service that you do. Right? Otherwise, we are getting closer to avaram karma. Okay? Then Lord is telling Arjuna that don't be a pretender. Because this whole world divided by two kinds of personalities. One who perform activities on the Jnana Yoga platform, which is study of the spirit, matter, empirical study, knowledge gained through it. Another is Karma Yoga platform. We understood what is Karma Yoga. Okay? Then he says, everyone has indriyas, and indriyas have. So, rather than falsely trying to renounce them, what do? You first desire, pray for it, seek mercy from the Lord, then slowly the sense control will reach, and that is better way to sense control rather than artificially renounce. Okay, so that's the advice Krishna is teaching Arjuna. Then what is he saying? He is concluding that perform duty without attachment. Now, the result will come in any duty. So what do you do with the result? Yes, offer it as a pleasure to the Lord. And that's what now he's going to talk the next book. Right? Text 9. Yagnatat karmano yatra loko yam karma bandhana tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. He says, every living entity in this world has to perform his work. There is no way they cannot avoid the work. Why? Because everyone is controlled by the three modes of nature. And according to their varna and guna, they will have to perform activity. You don't have a choice. So now you have to perform. So whatever work you perform as a sacrifice. What is sacrifice? Doing something for the pleasure of another person. So for example, a mother is giving birth to a child. Okay? After giving birth to the child, you see, the first few months or maybe up to a year or two, the child is causing a lot of difficulties. You don't sleep in the night. Suddenly you'll ask for milk. Suddenly you'll have nature call that this. Lot of austerities required done. But what the mother gets in return? Nothing. But she does as a sacrifice for the child. Correct? So sacrifice means voluntarily accepting difficulty for the pleasure of someone else. You got it? All of us do sacrifice. You know that? Today, someone is doing sacrifice of preparing prasad, that's why we are eating it a nice belly, right? Everywhere there is sacrifice. The father is sacrificing his personal time and life to earn money to feed the children. The brahmacharis are sacrificing all their enjoyment for the benefit of the world. They go around to preach, they go on to all these things. Everyone is sacrificing. But Krishna is saying, direct that sacrifice for pleasure of Vishnu. Right? So everyone has a duty to sacrifice, but do that sacrifice for pleasure of Vishnu. That's what this sloka is trying to tell. Okay? So he says, work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. There's no way you can do. So otherwise, that work causes bondage. So what is bondage? Bondage means put a chain to our hand. That's it. Oh, I can't move my hand. This bondage. Now what are we bonded? We bonded to this material body. This material body is awarded to us because of bondage. If we do good karma, then Krishna says, Prabhupada writes in his purport that, oh, he will be born with beautiful bodily features. He'll be born in a good family of Vaishnavas. He'll be born with a lot of riches. He'll be born like this. He's just enjoying the good karma. If you do bad karma, bad bondage, then you'll be born on the streets. Someone will look very ugly. Someone will have deceased body. All these things, right? So this is bondage. So bondage is a reaction out of our action caused with attachment. Right? So you should understand this. Okay. So, therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction. Whose satisfaction?
Lord.
Vishnu. And in that way, you will remain free from bondage, no karma. And when you leave this body, oh, no karma. Okay, go back home, back to Godhead. No more place here because this place is full of karma. Go to Vaikunta, there's no place of karma there. So that's what the Lord offers. So that's why this sloka is very important. So what does the sloka say? The three things. Work has to be done, but work has to be done as a matter of duty and for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. So offer it as a sacrifice. So sacrifice means yajna. Correct? So Prabhupada says, in Satyuga, yajna was performed by his meditative posture for the pleasure of the Lord. 1,000 years, 500 years, they sat like that. No enjoyment, no sensual pleasure, nothing, just for the pleasure of the Lord. They kept on offering praise to the lotus feet. Right? Then in Treta Yuga, what they did sacrifice. What they did? They performed huge yajna kutta. And they offered so many mantras, chanting mantras. They put so many items because here, look at this word. This word is very important. Yajna tatra karmana yatra. So here, it says done only for the sake of yajna or Vishnu. So here, yajna or Vishnu, what does it mean is, the benefactor of the yajna is Vishnu. Or that means the act of the yajna is for the sake of Vishnu. That's what it means. Right? Yeah, he is the benefactor. Huh?
Even Vishnu is called Yajna Purush.
Yajna Purush, yes. Enjoyer of the yajna. Yajna itself is Vishnu, correct. So that is what Prabhupada is trying to tell you. So now, in Dwapara, what people did yajna. They did sacrifice. What did they sacrifice? They did Archana Seva. They went to temples and they did all the services at the temple. And then they heard Katha, pastimes of the Lord in that temple. They served the Vaishnavas there. They came back. By doing this on a regular basis, they got liberated. So in Kali Yuga, what are we doing? Every day we're getting a morning and we're performing sacrifice. What sacrifice? Chanting holy name. So Krishna says, it has to be performed for the sacrifice, pleasure of Vishnu. So that means when you chant for the pleasure of Vishnu. Chant so that he hears. Offer that to him for his pleasure. Perfect your life. So that's what Krishna is trying to do. Okay? The next sloka, Krishna is going to equate this to what happens, why this yajna was created. Right? Okay. Sahayagna praja srishtva Purovacha prajapatihi Anena prasha Yasho va astva istakamaduk. So here Krishna is telling that when this entire creation happened, this creation of this entire anda happened, three things were sent. First, the demigods, Ihadevatas. Second, human beings. And third, Yajna was sent. Yajna was sent. What is this Yajna? Yajna is a method of building the relationship between two personalities. Who? The demigods and human beings. The demigods were empowered to benedict. And the human beings, they get the mercy by performance of Yajna. So what happened? This is like a contract between human beings and demigods. So human beings, what they did? They regularly performed Yajna. They pleased the demigods. They got all the benediction. By continuously performing these things, they got liberated. How? Because Krishna says, I am the Bhoktaram. Whatever Yajna was performed by these living entities to those demigods, actually received by Vishnu, by me only. So hence, all the offering went to Vishnu, and by the contractual agreement, nice rains, nice sunshine, all the requirements for the human being's successful living was made as an arrangement. That's what Krishna is trying to declare. By this arrangement, both can live very happily during the life of their presence in the earthly planets or richer planet, and get liberated also. It means afterlife also they can live happy. So that's what Krishna is trying to tell. Okay. So now you know how Yajna came into existence. It was sent by Lord as a method of purification for the living entities. So here in the purport you'll see Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sanga Pangostra Pasham Yajna Kirtana Praya Rijanti Sumedis. In this age of Kali, people are endowed with sufficient intelligence will worship the Lord. That means only intelligent people can worship Krishna. Non-intelligent people, they cannot worship Krishna. Okay? Who's accompanied by his associated performance, the Sankirtana Yajna. So that means Kali Yuga Yajna means Sankirtana. So do not perform that homa, this homa, not required. Of course, if it is samaskaras, you need that purification. Otherwise, don't waste time in those. What do? Chant, nicely chant, but chant with knowledge. Chant as an offering to Vishnu. Chant as a pleasure of the God. Okay? Other yajnas, spiritual Vedic are not easy to perform in age of Kali. So anyway, that you know. Okay? So we just read the last sloka for the day. Sloka 11. Deva bhavayate bhavayatanena E deva bhavayantu vaha parashparam bhavayantaha shreya param avapyata. Devan means demigods. Okay, who are demigods? Demigods are personal secretaries of the Lord. They are empowered by the Lord to perform activities which run the activities of this anda, this solar system. So, for example, you see the Earth started to rotate after creation. Okay, the Earth rotates at a particular speed. Rotates means around axis. The Earth today is 4 billion years old. 4 billion years old. Science has confirmed that the speed of the Earth has not decreased by a millisecond or increased by a millisecond since creation. So, the Earth rotates not by an accident, by a clear energetic plan of the God. That is clear? So that means what Lord did, maybe he put one demigod I empowered him. Your duty from morning till night until the end of one mantra, keep on rotating the earth. Huh? What, bro? 24/7. And what did he say? Every day I'll ask you for a report card. That is our Vaikuntha Ekadasi. Huh? In the Dwar, Haridwar, Dwar means open, like a door. Haridwar means door where Hari will be there. So I'll come to Haridwar, come and give you a report card. How many seconds you missed rotating the earth? Okay, then I'll punish you. So what is demigod is doing? Oh God, he perfectly does duty. Okay, so like that, this is the role of demigod. Like that, there are 33 crore demigods because there are so many activities in this. Okay, so that's called demigod. Bhavayata. Huh? Not planets. Or the person who rotates the planet, who's not visible. Your Lord Muruga, Ganesha, they're all demigods. Yeah. No, these are all not demigods. These are all planets created for different kinds of living entities to live, slowly transcend into higher consciousness, get human birth, go back to earth. Okay. So why in so many places? If you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, especially in Rupa Shiksha, Mahaprabhu explains that he creates 84 lakh species. Body. Tortoise one body. Bacteria is one body. Bird is one body. Like that, 84 lakhs bodies he created. Because you have so many desires. One day you want to wear chudidar, one day you want to wear pant, one day you want to wear sari, one day you want to just put one dhoti and come off. One day you want to go like that. One day you want to cut your hair and go. One day you want to lose hair and go. One day you want to tie and go. Like that, you have so many desires. So he said, I am Bhakta Vatsala, right? I will fulfill all your desires. You see, Olympics, someone will swim nicely, immediately will get desires. What if I'm a swimmer? Krishna will say, Tatastu. You desire fulfilled. So that's how our life happens. Okay, so there is demigods. He says, Anena, by his sacrifice. And yeah, so translation. The demigods being pleased by sacrifice will also please you. So the first level of worship is telling, okay, you don't want to connect with me, at least connect through my representatives. And thus by cooperation between men and demigods, prosperity will reign to all. What is prosperity? Prosperity is, you have to understand, prosperity is not like having a Mercedes-Benz car. No, that's not prosperity. First prosperity is someone having peace of mind. Right? Peace of mind and simple material activities, you'll get prosperity. Why? Because when you have peace of mind, you can sit and connect with the Supreme. Look at a businessman. Let's say he's a 1,000 crore businessman. In 24 hours, he will not even have 5 minutes for himself. This side one cell phone, that side secretary, that side this, flying to this country, flying to that country, coming here, going. So much he will do, but he does not know why he will have to, because suddenly one day he'll get a heart attack and all activities come to nil. You go to the hospital, they'll put to that monitor. Now, what's it called? One goes like this. ECG, they'll be like this. Suddenly it's that's all. Story. He'll just stop like that. Right? No, desires aren't by you. Don't blame him. Okay, good. So far we are clear? Yes. Are we going to slowly get rid of our desires? So how do you get rid of your desires? First, understand your desire. Understand, that means understand your state of consciousness. Repent for it. Offer praise to the Lord, seek mercy. Right? That is how desires will go away. Otherwise, yes, first you should help yourself. Then God will help. God has sent you sacrifice, He's sending sanding beads, He sent you Mahaprashadam, He sent you association of devotees. After having all these things, if you don't do any of those things, then you'll blame God. Oh, God, you didn't help.
There's a nice story for that. One devotee goes every day and asks, I want to get the lottery ticket, first prize, lottery ticket prize. Every day he start blaming the Lord. Then one day Lord will slap him. He said, first prize ticket, then we can get
Buy the ticket. Okay, so far are we clear? Huh? Okay, so my humble request to all of you who are present here today, Zoom as well as in the class, the first 11 slokas, the sloka, the word-to-word meaning, purpose. Please read this at least once. And how many days you have to read this? 7 days. Excellent. So within the next 7 days, please read these 3 things. 11 slokas, one-to-word word meaning, and purpose. Yeah, sloka 9 is like everyone knows that sloka. Okay, so then we will see how it changes. So we will see how Krishna now next twist Arjuna. If Krishna takes him straight away, Manmana Bhavamat Bhakto, Arjuna would have failed. Correct? So Krishna is putting more effort than Arjuna to evolve Arjuna's consciousness. And that's the beauty of Bhagavad Gita.
That is for us actually.
Yeah, Arjuna is us. Arjuna's duty is, Arjuna's karma is our duty, our prescribed duty. Right? So that's what. Thank you.
When I heard these online sessions, then I kept asking him so many all the answers, so all the questions, he just told me one answer that come and attend Bhagavad Gita classes, read the Bhagavad Gita, you'll get all the answers for your questions.
So now you're getting it.
Patiently, only one answer.
Okay.
Very good reading.
And very good guidance also. Okay, so we'll end the class here. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhavya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vaishnava Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Tat Sat. All know that. So I said that.